here's y'all's patterns. So let's work through. There's one right answer here. Well, have I shown that males and females differ innately?
No.
Why not?
Because you're just showing that they're different. You don't have any data as to why they're different.
Yeah, I don't know yet why they're different, right?
Yeah.
It's like if I find that males are taller than females in this culture, what's at least one other possible explanation for why males might be taller in this culture? Nutrition, yeah. We have to at least acknowledge that, well, we got to eliminate that variable first. So we have not shown they differ innately. And this is one of the things that really annoys me. So many studies are done with American college students, and they go, look, we found a difference, so males are better or worse at this. It's like, okay, all you have shown is that current males and females differ, in your sample on this trait. You got a lot of work to do. You haven't shown they differ in all cultures because your study was only done with our college students. So all you've really done is go, I got one piece of my argument. Whew. And so if I find this pattern in American culture and then I go to England and I find this pattern, how strong is this new confirmation of this difference? Stronger, but it has to be mitigated by one piece of knowledge. Do England and America share? Yeah, we share a cultural history. What we really want to do is find cultures very different from our own to do this. Because otherwise, all we have is Western males and females differ in this trait, but that doesn't tell me why they differ. It could be that females are trained to be more empathetic, and I suspect that's what's going on. But we're gonna do this. It's gonna be kind of tough, but I want to approach this through a short history of marriage, especially. I'm gonna focus on Western and American marriage, but it's going to be enough to give me a way to do some digressions. And I'm going to start with perhaps one of my favorite paintings, Vermeer's The Concert. I love this painting. Let y'all see it. Alright, so this is one of the times where when you're studying paintings, we sometimes don't really get the full import, like we need a little extra knowledge to understand what might be going on. Alright, so we have this beautiful painting of a Dutch society where we have a woman here playing harpsichord, a woman singing, a guy here playing the lute. We don't see his face, we don't know who he is. Very, very pretty painting. Actually, it is, if I'm not mistaken, one of the world's most expensive paintings. It was stolen a couple years ago, and I think it's worth like $200 million. So if you find this, I have told you how much it's worth, so I deserve some money to get. There's also a good documentary called The Concert about this painting. All right, what's going on here? So these three people are all singing together. This was a great way for people in Dutch society, the males and the females, to get together. The women, like we used to have these in our country. We probably still do. Finishing schools. Remember? Heard of these? What's a finishing school?
I don't know. I just heard of it.
You've heard of it? Yeah. It's where one of the other genders went to learn the skills that were supposed to be part of that their position in society. And at some point, to be a good woman, you had to know to play piano. That was part of your job. You had to know how to play piano, and if you said, I cannot play piano, you are a horrible female.
We call that home ec.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hasn't home ec changed its name to something? But yeah, home ec would be one. Right, remember home ec, it's like, well, who's taking home ec? Or who do they encourage to take home ec? At some point it became both genders need it. And that's when I was in school, like I learned how to sew a button at some point, I guess. I don't know. But that's not all that's going on in this painting. There's actually something really cool. There's a painting right here. It's hard to see in this, so I'll blow it up for y'all. There's the painting. No, so what Vermeer did, this painting already existed. Vermeer is painting this scene right here, and in his painting of this scene includes this painting. Why would he do that?
I guess because that's more of a lower class meeting.
If you, so what might Vermeer be saying with the inclusion of this? You're right, it is a lower class meeting, but what point might Vermeer have been making?
The same thing, just different rules.
That's exactly it. You've redeemed yourself earlier. The same thing. Think about this. If I want to take dance here at UAB, and I did take dance, I made a B, I'm not that good, right? But what dances am I learning? Am I learning low society dances?
I think it's Latin ballroom.
Yeah, you learn ballroom. You learn the waltz. You learn the tango. You learn, see, this is probably why I didn't make an A. I can't even remember which ones we learned. Foxtrot.
Did you learn the cha-cha?
We learned the cha-cha.
Soldier
Yeah.
Boy.
What?
Soldier Boy. Did you learn?
What? Yeah, I did that. We didn't learn the Harlem Shake, and we didn't learn any of those, right? So I am going to like throw myself into the baiting ritual. I have just taken dance, made a B, not a bad grade, but not the best. So I'm going to go to, what is the most popular club in Birmingham? Is there one? Platinum? I have no idea. I don't go out. I'm an old man. I have a fire pit and a cat. But I want to go dancing. I want to go Bacchus.
Yeah.
I'm going to go up to Bacchus. That's the one, 5 points, right above Waffle House now. Conveniently located in Waffle House. Because people are at Bacchus, probably over drinking, going, I really like cheap, greasy food, and boom, we go downstairs. Right? It's one-stop shopping, right? So I'm going to go to Bacchus, right? And I am going to waltz the night away.
Get a tux.
Maybe. Depends on how dressed up I want to get. May get a tux. Wait a second. Why is that not going to work? Other than the fact that I'm old. Okay, ignore that little variable. You know, that it's like oh, whose kid are you looking for? Right. So ignore that variable. Or is your child here? So ignore the fact that I am an old man. Why is that not going to work?
Because everybody else is going to be dry humping.
Everyone else is going to be dry humping. That's an awesome way of phrasing it. I'm there. Here's something very interesting. When dances like the waltz were first developed, people equated them to dry humping. They didn't say that. We didn't have that word. But they thought dances like the waltz were like so risque and that, you know, they used to have more lower class connotations and have since, you know, makes me wonder in 100 years if dry humping is, you know, what they gonna do? Weddings or something. You know? The one that I always talk about is the twist. I don't know why that one sticks out in my mind, but the twist used to be seen of as like this risque dance, like it was wild, and people were like, oh. But now we teach our kids the twist, you know? Like, oh look, she's doing the twist, come on, baby. You know? So I made a B. Right? But the idea that Vermeer, one of the ideas he's trying to get across is this mating dance takes place at different levels of society. This is this, just at a different level. And so we're going to see this idea of there are multiple ways of accomplishing our goals. We're going to see this over and over and over, that cultures are going to have mating rituals to get the sexes together. And there's not going to be a right or a wrong. There's going to be, this one has this traits, and these are the goods and bads, and this one has this traits, these are the goods and bads. So I want to see this over and over, because it's really, really cool when you get a big picture of all of this. So I'll start with this. In the West, right, so I want to give you a couple sentences, let you vote on the accuracy of these sentences. In the West, we seem to have some notions about marriage that I take to be somewhat obvious. I don't mean that everyone ascribes to them 100% as much as, think of it this way, if I were to say these, you might quibble with me, but I'm not, you know, I'm not crazy. Right? So judge them by that standard. One of the things that we deeply believe in the West is that after a period of dating, what this means is we think people should date, right? That's all that means. After a period of dating, people should get married, or can get married if they so choose, because they freely choose to do so and deeply love each other.
Wait, is it can or should? Because that makes
I think can. I don't mean should in the sense of you have to marry her. I just mean like that the reason you should get married, right? That we think you shouldn't just date for 50 years, right? Right? So if someone's like, hey, let's get married, you know, like that's a reasonable thing at some point for them to ask. And if I go, no, I just want to date you forever, most people don't like that, right? What do y'all think of this? Just
Or do you?
yeah, we do it. We can do this either way. But does this seem to capture just some truism? And in the sense that if I say this, right, with the modification of that the only reason you get married is because you freely choose to do so, right? If I were to say, gosh, well, since you are giving birth to my baby, I guess I'll marry you. Right? Is there a Hallmark card that conveys that notion?
Probably not.
Since you're birthing my baby, I'll be your husband. Right? It's freely chose. And what if I said, I don't love you. I like you, don't get me wrong. I think you're great. But I don't deeply love you. Let's get married. That's all the sentence means. So, do you think this sentence contains, I want to do some broad truth. I'll let y'all get your vote. On a scale of, let's go A to D. So, A is, this is completely wrong. And D is, yeah, that seems to capture our notion. So, you know, in some sense, it's capturing, y'all agree with this. We'll just see. Make sure I'm not, we are all over the spectrum, though, some of y'all hate me. All right, so 3, 2, 1. So we want to make this stronger. About half the class thinks this is, how would I make this more accurate if you did not agree with it? All right. How can I make this?
Maybe you would change people to males and females.
I mean, I don't know. Like, you know, I mean, a lot of people think this isn't capturing. So I say, you don't think we should freely marry? I'm saying, you don't think we should marry because we freely choose? What about I'm in debt, you'll pay my debt off, let's get married? You're good with that?
There's just so many justifications for marriage.
There are. Which one does our culture, right? If I say this person and I are getting married.
It's become inherent, right? Like what we were taught.
Yeah.
Like we were taught that we get married from a very young age because we really love that person.
Yeah, like you might go, do you love her? Right? And if I were to go, no, I do not love her, I think she's nifty.
But then the next question is going to be, why are you getting married?
Because she's nifty.
No, I'm saying, I understand.
Right, but does our culture allow nifty as a,
No.
yes.
Can we have another word besides nifty?
Nifty.
Swell. I mean,
Swell. I mean, certainly I can get married to someone who's nifty, but you're probably.
But it's frowned upon.
if I were to say, if you were to ask me, I already married my wife, and you were to ask me, well, do you love her? And I would say, no, she's nifty or she's handy. And you would say, well, what does she do for you? I say, well, she takes care of the home, she takes care of the kids, she cooks. And I think over a period of the conversation, the duration of time, you would be like, well, at least there's some function. There's some functioning. And eventually you would fall in love and they would fall in love.
We would like to.
I mean, I would think that there's...
Okay, what do you think? We can vote. So they're nifty, and they do all the things you say, right? So here's a question. Would over time, would we assume they're going to fall in love? Or we might think, oh, you're going to find someone else, or she's going to find someone who she's in love with. So, no, it's I mean, so like we're trying to get what our cultural norm or our cultural beliefs are. Not what's true, right? But our cultural belief, so...
But I see that it's misleading because the concept is there, that you should only marry someone because you love them. But in truth, in reality, that's...
Well, that's what we're talking about, though. We're talking about the concept, we're not talking about truth. Like, it's what we perceive to be real in our society.
Yeah.
So we perceive the fact that you love somebody as the reason for marriage. Then, like, that is what drives marriage in our society. Like, when a man and a woman loves each other, they should get married.
Okay, so that's a perpetuating notion.
Right, in our society.
It's love. You should marry for love. Yeah.
Well, it should be in love. Not love, but in love.
In love.
Right? What if I even said, I'm not in love with you, but I want to marry you? So you think, what would the general response to in our society be to that claim?
Gold digger.
What? I'm a gold digger? Because Lord knows she is not going to be a gold digger if she's with me. She's going to be like, oh. I don't even know what metal is less than gold that would make this accurate. This may be, right? But so,